You've heard it before, where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, in menopause, that smoke is inflammation. And one of the most important inflammation biomarkers that we can measure is something called C-reactive protein, or CRP. When CRP is elevated or high, it means menopause inflammation is burning silently inside your body, often inside your heart and your blood vessels. You're not going to feel that C-reactive protein, and your cholesterol might look just fine, but your blood could be setting off some silent alarms for menopause heart risk. So let's talk about what elevated CRP really means during menopause and what you can do about it. C-reactive protein is an inflammation biomarker, just like the other biomarkers that I've talked about in my last 3 videos. It doesn't actually cause inflammation. CRP is more of a signal that inflammation is already present. When tissues in your body are under stress, whether it's from infection or from the visceral fat that's in your abdomen, or from plaque that's forming in your arteries, especially in your heart, your immune system sends alarm signals to your liver. One of those alarm chemicals is called interleukin-6. In response to IL-6, your liver makes and releases something called C-reactive protein into your bloodstream. CRP levels can rise pretty dramatically, sometimes 100 times more than normal during inflammation. We can also measure some much lower levels of CRP using a high-sensitivity CRP test called hs-CRP. That test detects chronic low-grade inflammation, the type of inflammation that drives menopause heart disease over years or even decades. CRP is like the smoke rising from a slow-burning fire deep inside your arteries and your organs. Now let's talk about acute inflammation versus chronic inflammation. Acute inflammation is the kind that you notice, whether it's from a sprained ankle or a broken wrist or a mosquito bite. Maybe it's painful, it swells, it turns red, maybe even itches, but over time that inflammation heals and kind of dies down. Chronic inflammation is a little different. Menopause inflammation is silent, systemic, and ongoing, or chronic. Over time, that smoldering inflammation damages your blood vessels and increases menopause heart disease risk without any obvious symptoms. Let's take a minute and talk about estrogen in regard to inflammation. Conventional wisdom says that oral estradiol increases inflammation and transdermal estradiol doesn't. That's true to some extent, but it is an oversimplification. Oral estradiol does increase C-reactive protein, but this increase in CRP happens mainly because of first-pass liver metabolism, not because oral estrogen causes whole-body inflammation. It's a little more complex than that. Adding a progestin, especially micronized progesterone, often tends to blunt that CRP increase and decrease it, so it's not that big of a deal. Very few studies directly examine oral estradiol combined with oral progesterone in the same study. Most of the CRP studies used vaginal progesterone instead, and so maybe the results are a little different. That's why estradiol and inflammation require some more understanding of the nuance and not just fear. Well, if you've heard confusing or conflicting information about menopause hormones and inflammation, I created my hormone masterclass, The Menopause Solution, to help you clear things up. After completing the short, easy-to-understand lessons, you'll have the clarity and the confidence to be your own menopause advocate with any doctor. You can learn more and sign up at simplehormones.com/optimal. For a limited time, enrollment in the course also includes a 30-minute hormone coaching call with me, the hormone pharmacist. Now let's talk about menopause heart risk and those biomarkers that I've mentioned. Biomarkers are lab values that help us predict your risk of menopause heart disease. I'm going to count down the top 5 biomarkers for cardiovascular risk in postmenopausal women. Number 5 is hemoglobin A1C. A1C reflects your long-term blood sugar, your insulin resistance risk, and diabetes risk. Number 4 is lipoprotein(a), or Lp(a). This is a genetically determined heart disease risk factor that lifestyle doesn't make that much of a difference in. Number 3 is apolipoprotein B, or ApoB. ApoB measures the number of cholesterol particles that are actually causing plaque and clogs in your heart. And the number 1 predictor of menopause heart disease risk is the ratio of total cholesterol to HDL-C. Number 2 on this list is high sensitivity C-reactive protein, which is what we're talking about in the video. This is the key inflammation biomarker for menopause and heart health. Well, here's maybe something surprising. 4 out of those top 5 cardiovascular risk factors improve with optimal estradiol, specifically when you use oral estradiol to optimize your estradiol. C-reactive protein and inflammation are very high on the list of those 5 risk factors because even if you don't have an elevated hemoglobin A1C or diabetes, if your ApoB and Lp(a) both look good, you don't even smoke, and you don't have high blood pressure, well, even then, if you have a high CRP alone, you can still have heart attacks and strokes. High CRP is associated with 3 major outcomes. Number 1, it kind of doubles the risk of coronary heart disease. Second, it increases stroke risk by about 69%. Third, elevated CRP significantly increases what's called all-cause mortality. That just means that higher CRP levels increase your risk of dying from anything. So why does menopause inflammation increase after estrogen goes down? Well, that's because of visceral fat inside around your organs that goes up. This deep abdominal fat is highly inflammatory. Visceral fat drives your CRP higher. FSH levels also go up after menopause. I've done a video about that. Higher FSH levels are linked to increased inflammation. Rising FSH also increases your visceral fat, so inflammation from both things. What lowers FSH? Optimizing your estradiol. When estrogen declines at menopause, inflammation increases and CRP goes up. But the good news is that menopause inflammation can be reversed. C-reactive protein can come back down. Here are 5 evidence-based ways that you can lower your C-reactive protein or inflammation levels. Number 1 is aerobic exercise. It's been shown to reduce C-reactive protein by up to 58%. Number 2 is a Mediterranean-style diet that's rich in anti-inflammatory fats, olive oil. Number 3, reducing visceral fat by optimizing estradiol, lowering your A1C, and improving insulin sensitivity. Number 4, quit smoking, of course. That dramatically increases inflammation and your heart risk. Number 5, statins. They're not for everybody, but they lower ApoB and independently reduce CRP. Here's a bonus tip. Omega-3 fatty acids or fish oil capsules at 1 gram per day can reduce inflammation even further. So ask your doctor for a high sensitivity CRP test. The odds that your primary care provider will say yes are, well, maybe 5 or 6 out of 10. So you may need to really advocate for your own hormone health. CRP is especially important to track if you're using oral estradiol. Optimizing estradiol can help reduce menopause inflammation, as we've talked about in multiple different ways. But reducing visceral fat is probably the single most powerful way to lower your menopause heart risk. We're going to finish up with a clear summary of oral estradiol and inflammation. First, oral estradiol improves your hemoglobin A1C and insulin resistance. Optimal estradiol lowers lipoprotein A by about 20 to 25%. It reduces apolipoprotein B. It improves the total cholesterol to HDL ratio, the strongest predictor of heart disease in women. On the downside, oral estradiol does have a tendency to increase your C-reactive protein because of liver metabolism. It also increases venous thromboembolism or blood clot risk in a small percentage of susceptible women, a little bit more than transdermal estradiol does. So what does this mean? Well, oral estradiol offers some powerful benefits for menopause and heart health. It does come with some trade-offs that we have to have individualized, which is why it's important to speak with a specialist. If you're obese, you have high triglycerides or clot risk, maybe transdermal estrogen is safer for you. If you're otherwise healthy, though, oral estradiol may offer greater cardiovascular benefit because of all the reasons I've just mentioned. My goal is to help you understand menopause inflammation so you can make informed decisions along with your provider. In my next video, I'm going to share a comprehensive lab panel that most doctors will probably order for you. This is a lab panel that gives insight into inflammation, liver health, and your metabolic risk. I'll talk with you in that video.